Our next speaker, Christopher Kai, is an entrepreneur, an author, speaker, pioneering advocate for homeless youth. He has given over 1,000 presentations in more than 30 countries and spoken to Fortune 500 companies, corporations, nonprofit organizations, churches, primary and secondary schools, and colleges and universities. He's published 3 books, including Your Wonder Years, Success in College and Beyond, The Incredible Stories of Skid Row, From Homeless to Hopeful in the City of Angels, and Big Game Hunting, Networking with Billionaires, Executives, and Celebrities. Mr. Kai founded Mondays at the Mission, the only homeless youth program of its kind and the largest private shelter in the U.S. This program has hosted 220 speakers from 26 states and 26 countries, and its participants have been featured on CNN, ABC, Time, and Forbes magazines, Oprah, and The Ellen Show. Please give a round of applause to Mr. Christopher Kai.
When I was 17 years old, I boarded a bus from New York City, my hometown. I went 403 miles northwest to Buffalo, New York, where I went to school at the University of Buffalo. Now, on this bus ride, as I was staring out the window, I was super excited because at 17 years old, it'd be the first time that I'd be away from home, and I had a very strict upbringing. How many of you have strict upbringing with your parents? Always getting in your business, always asking what you're doing, always trying to what are you doing, son and daughter, right? So you can imagine, I had a very strict upbringing. My mother and father were immigrants from Hong Kong. I was Catholic. I went to a school like yours, except mine was co-ed in elementary school and all boys in high school. I was the youngest of 3 boys, so I had my brothers always this is Tim's younger brother, this is Eddie's younger brother. How many of you feel that? When you have an older brother or sister, right? I also had to go to Chinese school for 13 years, 3 hours every Saturday, so I hated that as well. And my mom was a school teacher. So you can imagine, growing up, although I had this entrepreneurial drive in me, all this restriction, people telling me what to do, which is why now I tell other people what to do. So on this bus ride to Buffalo, New York, and I was just super excited because, like I said, I was just going to be able to think my own thoughts, breathe my own breath, and dream my own dreams. And when I finally got to Buffalo, New York, which is a very beautiful place because it rains and snows a lot, so it's very green, I stayed at a place called Richmond Hall. They called it Legoland because there are these massive blocks. They look like massive brick blocks. And outside my dorm room, there's this open place where you can play ultimate frisbee, and we had barbecues and picnics. And right outside my dorm room, I saw this beautiful mural. On the bottom left-hand side, there was a face, and right next to that face was this phrase: "Life is like a blank canvas, and you're the painter." Life is like a blank canvas, and you're the painter. Now you might think, oh, Chris, but I'm not really creative. We are all creative. You create thoughts, you take action, based on those actions, you live your life. So we're all creative. Now the reason why I started with this specific phrase and this story is because too many times in my life, I meet students, and I've met thousands of them, they get too much criticism on themselves. And what I mean by that is there's no perspective. So imagine if this canvas symbolized your entire life. The average American lives till 69 years old. Men live a little less, women live a little more, but the average American right now lives 69 years old. But your generation, realistically, with all the technology now and the precision medicine in the future, you will probably live till 100 years old. Now imagine, if you will, this canvas represents your 100 years. Now what I find is, if you're 11, 12, 13 years old, imagine you're at this side of your blank canvas of life. And so you've lived 10, 11, 12 years over here, but you have all this life to live, all these 90 years to live. And what happens when I meet students? They're like, Chris, I messed up in 5th grade. Chris, I didn't do well on this assignment. Chris, I lied to my mom. Chris, all this frustration, all this burden, all this stress, I ask you to remove that because you've only lived a few years of your life. So keep your life in perspective because you have all of this life to live. So whatever you've done in life, that's in your past. Put that away because it's about perspective in life. Remember that. It's so important.